The royal house of Soren had always looked down upon humans. To the Soren, a reptilian jewel-scaled species that ruled 3 sectors of the galaxy, humanity was still new, scrappy, primitive, and far too emotional to be trusted with true power. They were tolerated as mercenaries, traders, or vassals, but never equals. So when Princess Zara of Soren was ordered to marry a human, she felt insulted. The marriage was not of love, nor even of diplomacy. It was convenience. A small treaty signed between Earth and Soren to share trade routes, and the Royal Council thought it would be amusing, even safe, to bind their princess to a simple human. Her husband's name was Elias Kale. When Zara first laid eyes on him, she nearly laughed. He was tall but lean, his skin soft compared to her armored scales, his movements ungraceful compared to the rigid elegance of Soren warriors. His eyes were a calm shade of gray, lacking the burning fire of her people. To her, he looked like nothing more than a fragile animal who happened to stand upright. She assumed their union would be symbolic. He would live quietly in the palace, eat his strange earth foods, and fade into the background of her life. But fate was not so simple. At first, Elias played his role perfectly. He was polite, quiet, and observant. He smiled when required, bowed when necessary, and never raised his voice. Zara grew used to his silence. She thought him harmless, even dull. She spent her days training with the royal guard, debating policy in the council chamber, and inspecting the fleets that patrolled the stars. Elias trailed behind, often with a book or datapad in hand. He was tolerated but ignored. One evening, after a council meeting where her cousins mocked his silence, Zara confronted him in their private chamber. "Do you not feel insulted?" she demanded, her tail lashing the air. "They call you weak, unfit, beneath me, and you do nothing." Elias merely looked at her, his expression unreadable. "Words don't break bones," he replied softly. "And sometimes the less your enemy sees, the more they underestimate." She scoffed at his cryptic remark and dismissed him as trying to save face. But small details began to gnaw at her. Once, during a sparring session, she caught him watching her drills. His gaze wasn't passive. It was sharp, calculating, as though he could read the rhythm of combat without lifting a blade. Another time, she saw him trace his fingers along the hull of a starship with an oddly intimate familiarity. When she asked if he had studied engineering, he only smiled faintly and said, "A little." The turning point came when the Draxian armada attacked. The Draxians were a warlike insectoid species who despised both humans and Soren. Their fleet descended upon the outlying colonies without warning, tearing through defenses with savage precision. The Royal Council scrambled to respond, but they were too slow, too arrogant. Zara demanded to lead a counterstrike, but before the fleet could mobilize, the palace itself came under attack. Explosions shook the halls. Alien soldiers poured into the corridors, cutting down guards with plasma fire. Zara drew her blade and rushed to defend the throne room. Elias followed, unarmed. "Stay back," she hissed at him. "This is no place for you." But as the first wave of Draxians crashed against the palace defenders, something shifted in him. The quiet, passive husband she thought she knew straightened, his eyes hardening into something sharp as steel. And then he pulled out something she had never seen before. A weapon. Not a plasma rifle, not a blade, but a sleek device of human make, compact and humming with restrained energy. When he fired, the beam didn't just burn. It bent reality itself, folding Draxian armor inward like paper. "Where did you get that?" Zara gasped, stunned as he cut down 3 enemies with surgical precision. "Prototype," Elias said shortly. his voice calm but commanding. "Earth tech. I helped design it." For the first time, she realized she had no idea who her husband truly was. They fought side by side, Zara carving through soldiers with her blade, Elias eliminating others with unerring shots and tactical efficiency. He wasn't clumsy or weak. He moved like a man who had lived and breathed war. When the smoke cleared and the palace was secured, Zara confronted him again, this time not with scorn but with disbelief. "You lied to me. You pretended to be nothing." "I didn't lie," Elias replied evenly. "I let you believe what you wanted. Sometimes survival depends on being underestimated." Her tail coiled in agitation. "Who are you?" Elias finally told her. He was not just some diplomat's pawn. He had been a soldier in Earth's hidden defense forces, one of the architects of humanity's rapid military rise. His assignment wasn't merely to marry her. It was to watch, learn, and prepare. Earth had secrets. Humanity's growth had not been as slow or naive as the galaxy believed. Zara struggled to reconcile the image. The quiet, unassuming husband she mocked, and the deadly tactician who fought like a shadow of war. But the galaxy didn't give her time to ponder. The Draxians regrouped, launching a full-scale invasion on Soren territory. The Council panicked, demanding alliances, desperate for salvation. It was Elias who stood before them, his voice steady as he spoke. "Send your fleets if you want," he said. "But if you want to win, you'll need humanity's help." The Council laughed. Humanity had no fleets large enough, no fleets at all compared to the massive armadas of Soren. But Zara, now seeing him differently, asked the question no one else dared. "What happens if we call Earth?" Elias gave her a look that chilled even her scaled blood. "Then the galaxy will learn what we've been hiding." Ending. When the call went out, the galaxy held its breath. And Earth answered. Not with a token fleet. Not with a handful of ships. But with thousands of warships, sleek and terrifying, rising from hidden shipyards across Seoul. Carriers the size of cities, cruisers bristling with weapons, stealth frigates cloaked in shimmering light. The Soren gasped in disbelief. The Draxians faltered in terror. Humanity had built an empire's worth of power in the shadows, hidden beneath the illusion of weakness. At the head of the armada, Elias stood beside Zara on the command bridge, no longer silent, no longer simple. He issued orders with the precision of a commander who had been waiting for this moment his entire life. The battle that followed was not a fight. It was a slaughter. Human ships outmaneuvered the Draxians, their weapons cutting through armor like paper. Combined with the Soren fleets, the invasion was not only repelled but reversed. The Draxians fled, shattered and broken, their war screeches silenced by the thunder of human steel. When the dust settled, the galaxy could no longer ignore the truth. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not simple. They were cunning, patient, and terrifyingly prepared. In the quiet after the victory, Zara looked at her husband with new eyes. "You let me believe you were nothing," she whispered. Elias turned to her, a faint smile playing at his lips. "And now?" She pressed her scaled hand to his, a gesture of respect and bond. "Now I see. You are everything." The council bowed to him. The galaxy whispered his name. And Princess Zara, once ashamed of her human husband, now stood proudly beside the man who had changed the fate of worlds.